Well, hello and welcome to the 12 Days of Christmas Ornaments, where each day I am showing you a different ornament project. I am tweaking the color palette of my Christmas ornaments this year, as well as a whole new tree for my grandkids. So this is day 2, and we are working on some decoupage. We're going to decoupage a little bit of napkins. We're going to do some wrapping paper, and we're going to use some fabric to make some gorgeous ornaments. Okay, so we're going to start with some ornaments that I am refurbishing from my stash. I'm getting rid of all of the bright red and the white in my ornaments this year. So this one, even though it has glitter on it, we're going to cover it with fabric so that texture isn't going to matter. And the next one, we're going to use a napkin. And it will turn out like this. And then we're going to use this nutcracker wallpaper, wrapping paper, sorry. And we're going to do this disc ornament that I got from a package from Hobby Lobby. But the first thing we're going to want to do is give this red ornament a coat of a lighter color. And this one just I had on hand, so I grabbed it. We just are going to be putting the napkin over it, which is thin. So we want to put a coat of paint on there so that the red doesn't poke through. We're just going to put one coat on, and we're not trying to be fancy about it. We're just slapping some paint on there. I put it on a skewer and then sit it in the cup to dry while we start working on the one with the fabric. So what you're going to do is take your scissors and just make little slits at the end, and then you're going to just tear it. That'll give you a nice straight piece. Your edges will be a little frayed, but your pieces will be perfectly straight, and you can do it a lot quicker that way as well. And then we're just going to cut them now the length of half of the ornament so that it starts at the top and then ends at the middle of the bottom. And we're just going to continue to cut the rest of those strips into the smaller sections. So we're going to grab our Dixie Belle's Clear Coat Satin and use that as a decoupage medium. I really, really like using this versus some other products out there. I found that the other products tended to be a little too tacky for my liking. And I don't know whether it may be our humidity here in Florida. It just didn't seem to dry very well for me. So this clear coat satin works beautiful. And I am just kind of sponging it on there, if you will, or tapping it on there instead of using brush strokes, because this is a textured ornament. I want to make sure that that medium is getting down into all the cracks and crevices so that the fabric will grab onto it and stick. And then you'll just go ahead and make sure your ornament doesn't roll over into all of that decoupage medium you just put on there. And you're going to lay your fabric on there. Press it down, and then you'll just come back with that brush and continue to kind of stipple. That's the word I was looking for before. Whoo, the brain, it doesn't work sometimes. But we're just going to stipple some more of that decoupage medium, making sure that everything is sticking really well. All right, we're going to speed this up a little bit so that, we're not sitting here for 2 hours watching me decoupage something, because I don't think that's very entertaining. I could chat here for a while, but I don't think you want to listen to me for that long. Anyhow, so you're just going to continue that same process all the way around the entire ornament. You're just laying some decoupage medium down and then stippling some more on top, making sure everything is nice and flat and even. All the edges are secured properly. You could use any type of fabric. The thinner the fabric is, though, the more that you would see the texture underneath. So this is kind of a medium bodied weight fabric, I would say. So it's not going to show that texture underneath. But if you were to use a very thin poplin or like quilting fabric, you may see the texture underneath. So just keep that in mind when you grab the ornament that you want to decoupage over. So let me know in the comments below, have you started Christmas projects already? Or do you already have all your Christmas decor up and ready to go? I am enjoying the process this year. I'm going to have boodles of ornaments, that is for sure. Um, I saw a meme this just today that had a house that literally every single wall and floor and ceiling was covered with ornaments. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's going to be me here soon with all of these projects that we're doing this year. But actually, I haven't bought any much of anything new. So it's really just refurbishing what I had. So it won't be too bad, but it feels that way at the moment. And these are one of those plastic ornaments. The year that the really big ornaments came out, that's what this is from. So it's quite a few years old. It's probably early 2000s or so that I got these. So it's a great way to just refurbish what you already have. I went looking to add to my collection because I thought I needed more until I went through absolutely everything. And they have gone up in price like just everything else right now. Look at that. So I love the striped fabric and love how it came out. What do you think? Now we'll just put that on a skewer and let that dry. And now it's time to grab your wrapping paper and we're going to decoupage on this disc ornament. I'm just cutting out. I'm using, there's like larger nutcrackers and smaller nutcrackers on this wrapping paper. I picked this up at Marshall's, by the way. They have this in pink and in the teal, so it was perfect for my color scheme this year for the grandkids tree. But we're doing the same process. We're just going to lay down some of that clear coat satin and then put the wrapping paper over the top, making sure you're getting everything covered really well. But I'm using the smaller nutcracker size. I'm kind of eyeballing where it's supposed to go. I didn't get it perfect, but I think it'll be fine in the end once I hang it on the tree. I don't think you're going to really know that much of a difference. But if you are, if you're someone that is a little more particular, you may want to take that ornament and put it over top of the nutcracker on the front side and kind of trace around it to see if you have it in the right spot. And then I'm just going to roughly cut any of the excess around the edge. We're not going to get really precise at this point. I'll show you how to get it nice and clean here in just a minute. And then we're going to do the same process on the other side. Laying down the decoupage medium and then pressing the wrapping paper into it. I don't put any of that on the top because I don't want it to wrinkle. Now just let that dry and we'll move on to the napkin. So I picked this napkin up. It was a pack of napkins. I believe at Marshall's, TJ Maxx, Home Goods, one of those. We used to have a Tuesday morning, but they went out of business. But I believe this was a Marshall's or TJ Maxx find. And what I've done is I've taken an artist brush and just wet it a little bit with water. And I created circles around the roses that I wanted to highlight as I've decoupaged around the ornament. The first ornament that I showed you that I was practicing on, I kind of took the whole sheet and brought it up and gathered it at the top. But I really like the way this procedure came out much better. You can really tell the rose pattern. You can really see it much better with by circling around each of those roses versus taking the whole sheet and then kind of pleating it at the top. And you know the drill. You're just going to go ahead and apply that clear coat satin and then place your napkin down in place. Now I am putting some on the top of this napkin because it's so thin it's just going to go ahead and soak through, and it will crumple a little bit and be a little bit wrinkly, but it kind of adds a little interest and texture and little antiquing, if you will, to the ornament. So you're just going to have to roll with that. And we're just going to place each section on all the way around the entire ornament. As you can see, I kind of picked up some of the paint. I was too impatient and didn't let there were some areas that didn't dry enough. So I have to go back and kind of clean my brush better when you go on for the next sections. So we'll just continue applying the decoupage medium and then putting the napkins on all the way around so that everything is covered. I kind of use some of the lighter roses at the top and then the darker ones towards the bottom. It doesn't really matter whatever kind of design you want to put on there is completely up to you. Then you're just going to go through and make sure everything is pressed down very nicely and evenly, and there aren't any little pieces sticking up anywhere. I am really enjoying this. Then you're just going to go ahead and put it on a skewer to dry. It's going to take an hour or so to make sure all of that is dry. The fabric really took the longest because obviously it absorbs more of the product. So just keep that in mind. Now we're just going to finish them off. So they had silver tops on them, and I'm not using any silver, so we're just going to put a little bit of gold gilding wax on the tops to make sure that my color palette is cohesive. This is another Dixie Belle product, but you could use Rub and Buff, or there are some others that work really well. I just really love the actual tone and color of the Dixie Belle one. So if you have a retailer near you, it is worth a try to try and find these products. All right, we'll just apply that to both of those tops, and then we're going to let them dry for just a few minutes, and we'll move on to our sphere now, our disc, whatever that's called. So we're going to take some 150 grit sandpaper, and we're just going to sand in a downward motion along the edge of this ornament. And what that's going to do is release that paper off the side in a nice clean fashion. And it's just going to, just touch on the edges, and you're just lightly going to do it until you start to see it separate from the sides. And gently just tug on it a little bit. If it doesn't come right away, just keep going and doing a little more sanding until it just starts releasing and coming off. I wouldn't use much lower of a grit sandpaper. 150, 120 is probably good. 220, just you're going to work a little harder. And see, it just releases right off the edges. So now I wanted to add a top section on there so that it looks like, the top of an ornament. So I'm just going to base coat it in with that pink color. Again, it's just giving it a base. I'm going to actually put the gold gilding wax over the top after it dries. But like I said, I just want to give it a base to stick to. So now we'll just finish off the other ornaments, and we're just adding a little dab of hot glue and then tying a velvet ribbon on the top and make it into a bow, cutting off the excess. You notice that my fingers are quite gold. Make sure that you don't have any of that gilding wax left on your hands because it will rub off. But now we're just going to go in and we're going to add the gilding wax to the top of that wooden ornament. And then we're going to go around the edges as well just to kind of finish it off and clean it up. Then we'll add a satin ribbon to hang it. And I think they came out gorgeous and very excited. So I would love to know if you've decoupaged any ornaments. Let me know in the comment section below. What have you used when you did it as well? Have you used fabric or napkins or whatnot? What have you used? So wasn't that fun? Decoupage is one of the easiest and quickest ways that you can update your ornaments and update your color palette for your Christmas decor. With just a little bit of Mod Podge or like I use the clear coat satin from Dixie Belle today, and a little fabric, some napkins, whatever you find that's in your color palette, go ahead and you can decoupage that onto your ornaments. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button because we have still 10 more fun projects to do. See you tomorrow.